Hello, as you can see by the title, I'm going to try to teach you how to counter a villager rush. First of all, what is a villager rush? So, a villager rush is basically when an Egyptian player, formerly Set, or Ra actually, uses shifting sands from their base to your base and shifts all your villagers and then destroys your base. Now this happens usually at the 4-minute mark or, really early because they don't want you to advance yet. And many people who are familiar with the villager rush have trouble defending it. Now the villager rush only works against Atlantean people because their town centers are 700 hit points weaker. And usually Set players pull off the villager rush because they have free animals as well as vision to see the enemy. Now this is a Ra player. Ra does have an advantage as well because you can upgrade your villagers' pierce and hack armor in the town center, but I highly doubt this guy's going to do that. He's just going to go for a flat out villager rush, which is, not bad at all. So this isn't a bad guy. He knows how to play. He has beaten me quite a few times, but I've beaten him well. It's pretty much tied between me and him. We're the exact same skill no matter what we play. So this guy is not gonna mess up pulling off a villager rush. Now this is a water map, so that might have been a small mistake though by him, because a villager rush is best on land maps as the enemy is forced to gather only from land. If he villager rushes me and destroys my entire base, I still have fishing ships to rely on to give me food. So that is kind of a small disadvantage, but I'm just going to try to teach you guys how to counteract it, not focus too much on the game itself. So first of all, you're Atlantis, and you don't want to advance later than 5 minutes to Classical Age, which should be fairly obvious, but let's pretend this is a land map. On a land map, well, your latest could be 5 minutes, but if it's past that, that's just inefficient. I mean 5:30. If it's 5:10, that's still the latest acceptable. In a water map, you really want to get 4:30 or as close to it as possible, which never happens to be exactly 4:30, but 4:40 or 4:35 is really good. So now, once you realize that they're villager rushing, which, I can see that their score is a bit low. Egypt does start with a lower score, by the way, so I don't actually notice that they have a lot lower score. But the thing is, yeah, that's the thing. I have no idea he's gonna villager rush by the scores yet, but because he's idling his priest here, that is really, really suspicious to me, and I'm not kidding. Here's my view log. Let's see how long it takes me to look back to his idle priest once again, because I look back there at least 5 times, I guarantee you that. There's my scout. There's the priest. I just looked back to it again. So I'm gonna look back to it at least 5 times over and over again. Because like I said, this guy's the same skill as me. He's not gonna make a mistake and forget to scout. There's no way he's gonna forget that. So I know that something's up right now. And I'm pretty sure in a minute or two, well, more than 1 minute, that's for sure. In a few minutes, I'm gonna try to send a scout fishing ship to see if he's getting fish from here. And that's later on when my scout actually comes here and realizes I don't see a dock over there, what's going on? So like just before this is going to take place, the rush, that's when I'm going to realize, wait a minute, what's going on here? So this is a late reaction, but that's perfect because that's why I want to try to show you guys how to still survive when you have no idea the enemy is going to villager rush you. So as you can see, that's still there. I must have looked at it a few times as I was not looking at my view log. I can't really say much since this is the beginning of the game. I'm gonna spoil it to you guys. He is advancing right now, so you need to expect this. Villager rushers usually, if they villager rush properly, or at least this is what I do if I villager rush, I get 100 food, which he did, and 400 gold. So when they destroy your town center, they're actually gonna claim it as their own. That's what you should do, and that's what he's gonna try to do, I hope. I don't actually remember fully, but let's see how this flows out. So obviously I have not even started advancing yet. Like I said, 4:30 should be the flawless advance, but I did get flaws as anyone else would on water. It's really, really rare to get a 4:30 flat. So this is when I realized, yep, he is gonna villager rush because I see this here. And this was, I don't remember if it was luck or on purpose, but I placed my temple back here, not over here. I could have actually tried to surround my town center with it, but I didn't go that deep. So here's a small mistake. I didn't pull back my oracles just yet, which I am doing now. Normally, I don't always pull my oracles back against Egypt because Egypt does go, fairly late game. And I finally send my fishing ship back there. It's a bit too late now. He already advanced. Yeah, so this is when I realized under 4 minutes, Ta, that's a villager rush. You have to know that if your enemy's gonna choose Ta and advance this fast, that's a villager rush. This is when I know he's gonna villager rush. I'm just sending this villager back, but I couldn't kill off the priest obviously in time. So this is when things get crazy. You need to start repairing your town center immediately. I personally focused on the Pharaoh first with my town center because the Pharaoh is going to snipe villagers easily as well as this myth unit. Now, if I were not repairing at all right now, he would destroy my town center. Here's the main thing you guys need to know. I'm going to select all my villagers. Whichever one's taking the most damage is going to be garrisoned inside the town center and pushed out. You might be wondering, why is my villager not running away? Select all your villagers and press Alt S. Do not type that in, just press it. Hold down Alt S for a second, and then your villagers are going to stand ground when you're being attacked. So as you can see, these got garrisoned just in time, and this is going to be garrisoned just in time too, to not lose any villagers, but take the most damage. That's the most efficient it can get, and this guy's also doing some work on my villagers. So my town center is almost down, but because of my repair micro, I am still alive, and I did advance. My only goal now is obviously to get my Oracle heroes out on the field. So yeah, this is really good for me because I kill off so many villagers that I know that even if he's gonna destroy my town center, then I'm gonna do really good. Now look at this, all my villagers are highly damaged, so I'm really trying hard not to lose any of them. Let's see how this is gonna flow out. My town center is 100 health and falling below right now, so if I didn't garrison any repairs, I think it would be fully fine. Oh, just garrison. If I would not have garrisoned those, my town center would have actually survived. But at the same time, I would have lost a villager. Is that worth it? Yeah, I have no idea. I could have done a bit better job microing there by only garrisoning this guy. But anyways, to survive the villager rush, this was perfect because let me just check his resources. Oh, he didn't even have 400. So that was not a flawless villager rush, but normally they try to take your town center now. And like I said at the beginning, you have to focus down their pharaoh. Unfortunately, he's Ross, so you can still use a priest, but usually set players villager rush. So if it's a set player, focus down his pharaoh with your town center arrow fire. I mean, I'm saying it correctly, yes. And then he cannot use his empower to build up the town center. That's what you have to do. So once he tries to take the town center, just loop Turma from here, which I didn't do because I realized he's not trying to take it. I just panicked and made this. But if he were trying to take the town center, I'd actually be spamming out Turma right now. That's what you have to do. You gotta get that. And as well, use your Oracle heroes to kill off any villagers that try to build their town center. So that is pretty much all there is to it. Obviously, after you lose your town center, just try to rebuild as soon as possible. Don't worry about anything else. Luckily for me, this is a water map, so I still have food income, no problem. Like I said, it was quite... I guess he just didn't think of it. It was unthought of in his perspective to not villager rush on a water map. Now this was really bad for me. I just barely couldn't get that myth unit. I don't know if it's a white jet or... I'm just gonna say white jet, yeah. That's pretty much the end of the game. There's not much else to see. Now, he does have villagers gathering food, but I'm pretty sure I do have the advantage, or do I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do have the upper hand right now because I lost 0 villagers during all of that, and I'm trying to take the other side of the water too. I noticed he didn't take any water whatsoever. And yeah, so I can't really say much. Now it's just a normal game. I hope that really helps you guys. I've gotten lots of requests as to how one can defend a villager rush, and I'm really hoping that was a good cover of a tutorial. And I believe it was pretty good too. All you need to get right is stand ground. Remember, it's Alt S, and then micro garrison your villagers as you're repairing. That's all you need to get down. Once you got that, then you can easily defend any villager rush. Even if you lose your town center like I did, you can still get back into the game because they have lost so much. Now, my mistake, I just realized, is that I did not use Shockwave, but he planned it out. He purposely used Rain, so I can't use Shockwave. So if he were set, he might have actually done a worse job. Like I said, he planned this out to some degree. Like, he definitely pulled off a better villager rush than I would have as a Raw. Either way, though, I could have still used the Shockwave God Power, I think, like, at the very end of the villager rush. Which was a mistake from me that I didn't use it, but I was really busy trying to micro garrison here. So, like I said, once again, I really hope that does help you guys, and I tried to make it a good tutorial. And now my goal is, since I know he's behind, you know, this is already the end of the tutorial, but since I know he's behind, I just want to take all the economy I possibly can. I can't really rush him because I know he has defense, especially towers and whatnot. So my only hope is just to take map control. That's what I'm thinking, at least. I could go fast heroic and try to, you know, do some crazy action, but he could easily defend that off right now. So I'm really just trying to get an upper hand late game and then win the game. Yeah, that was pretty good. I remember, like, I tried to actually keep it a serious tutorial because I remember every time I tried to make one, I just got distracted and I was like, oh yes, the tutorial, haha, whoops. So this time I actually tried to make it a real tutorial. And I just scouted in to see if he's taking this town center, which I didn't get to, but at least I sniped his mid unit, which is all I really needed. So I don't really care if he's taking this or not because I noticed he's not taking this. You can easily check that, guys, by the way. If you click at villagers, press Z and try to build town center there. Unfortunately, I don't have enough for a town center, but I know he's not taking this. Unfortunately, I forgot to check this, so I have no idea about that just yet. Either way, though, I have 3 town centers against his 1 town center, and even though he has 4 dogs, why is he making 4? Oh, wow. I mean, I guess he really wanted to pump out those fishing ships, eh? But 4 is quite an overkill. At the same time, though, Egypt does have cheap dogs for 50 gold. Not much of a problem at all. I know I could have extended all the way down here with my dogs, but I personally don't do that when there's this much of a gap. Mostly because he could, well, this is the half point of the map, right? So not only could he have already taken this by then, he could also easily destroy those with military. It's really hard to try to control all the way back here on the map. So I never extend like all the way to the half point if it's a situation like this, you know. Early game sometimes I do, but because early game just did not really happen normally, I didn't do that. So yeah, guys, besides everything I said, let's pretend you're Oranos. If you're Oranos, always make sure to use a shockwave when you're getting villager rushed. This guy knew how to counteract that. He was a pretty good player at that point. I mean, he had good thinking at least. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think if he would have done that on a land map, he would easily stand a chance winning against me. But right now, just because it was a water map, he stands no chance whatsoever. I really just need to take advantage of this and get as much out of it as I can, which I am trying to do. So yeah, if it's on a land map, which is the usual case, like I've never actually been villager rushed on a water map, this is my first time. If it's a land map, it's gonna be a lot more difficult, especially if you can't kill his myth unit. So you really need to get those 3 Oracle heroes out, otherwise you might not be able to kill his myth unit. Yeah, I can't really give any more tips. I do have a story though, aside from all this. Last night, well, more like 3 AM my time, so that's this morning, I actually went on Game Ranger, right, and I tried to join a room, but it was password protected, so I tried to go in and I actually guessed the password right. I guessed it correctly. I was so lucky. So I got in the room, and I was like, hey, and you know, it was like nobody replied in the room. I'm assuming they were just shocked as to how I got in, but then I right-clicked his name and checked the info as to where he's from on the minimap, and it showed Hungary. So obviously I started speaking Hungarian to them. I was like, well, you know, I just started saying Hungarian stuff, and then they start replying, and then they're talking about having version 1.03. So I was thinking, that means they're gonna have a different version. The reason being is that everyone who claims to have 1.03 means that they had struggle patching, and they usually somehow messed up and don't have your version. Whereas everyone else who just says 1v1 and they don't even worry about the versions, that means they're just so used to having the correct version. You know, they don't notice that some people don't. So if they're telling you their version, that automatically implies that they don't have your version. So that's, at least that was my experience with all the people so far, except them. I actually got into the game. So how rare is that? What are the chances, first of all, of guessing the password correctly to get into random stranger's room? And they didn't even have friends only enabled. It was actually a public room with a password on. So usually people with passwords even have friends only enabled. Anyway, so I got into the password protected room, and they just happened to be my nationality. And on top of all that, we had the same versions. What are the chances of that happening? I was so shocked. Yeah, that was really fun to play with them. Either way, though, as you can see, this game is over because Anatolia is focused on middle map control, and because he did have a disadvantage, I can easily claim the middle map control. I'm pretty sure he knows that, so he's just gonna leave the game and not stall. Obviously, I do lose all of my army here, which could be a small mistake, but at the same time, I am freeing up my population to get some destroyers out on the field, and that's what's gonna do some real damage, destroying those towers and whatnot. Destroyers and Cheer Ballistas, that's pretty much all I need to kill his army. And that's it. 4 town centers up against his 2. He knows there is no chance. Now in an early game against him, which he actually won, I remember he had the 4-2 advantage, so I guess 4-2 really does come into play. Now we had even scores. It's always weird. I always lost against him with even scores. Like, he was not way ahead of me. Like, I was way ahead of him on this one. But yeah. Anyways, this guy's a good player. If you guys want to play with him, you can find him I forgot if this was on Game Ninja or Voobly. I think this was on Voobly, so you can find him on Voobly. He's pretty fun to play with, except he doesn't speak any English. Either way, though, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned a lot from this semi-tutorial as to how to survive a villager rush. And I really hope it was useful, because some people, actually a lot of people, have been asking for it. And this is the best I can do. I was lucky enough to play a game against a villager rusher who did really good. Because if he did really bad, you guys might not be satisfied with a lacking tutorial. Whereas this was really good. Like, you can see I took full advantage. 3 health on that, 34 health, 65. You know, I almost lost my villagers, but this shows you how important it is to micro garrison as you're repairing. Like I said, I didn't do the best job because I did lose my town center. I could have used shockwave, I think, at the last minute, second at least. Whereas I mean, like, when I had 50 health on my town center, I could have used shockwave, which I didn't realize. And if I only garrisoned 1 citizen at the very end instead of all 5, I would have saved it. So, you know, tiny mistakes come into play when that happens. So you guys gotta kind of practice that out. Like, try to practice it with a friend. Tell him to villager rush you. Make sure he does a good job. Not 5-minute advance. It has to be 4-minute or 4:30. Anything under 5 is proper. Anyways, once again, I'll stop talking, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys next time.